Good evening, our dear viewers, and welcome again to this amazing show. This day that the Lord has made, that we would rejoice and be glad in it. We are so excited to have you today for yet another show, Occupy Today on Hope TV Kenya. We are so glad to have you, and I'm sure God has taken care of you throughout last week, and we have yet another new week. An amazing, amazing day, the 30th of July. Can you imagine the month of July has just come and gone? And I'm excited this evening to have you yet another time. So most welcome and enjoy the show with us. I can tell you we have amazing, amazing stuff on the pipeline tonight. So keep it right there and don't go. Don't go away. I'm hoping that I will see you even at the end of this show. So please don't go away. I just want to quickly introduce myself as I bring on my guest tonight. I'm joined by one guest. So my name is Sarah Kajuju. I am a growth coach, and I'm excited to host you on this show, Occupy Today tonight. This show reaches out to business people in Kenya and beyond Kenya, just inspiring them and helping them to shine in the marketplace. How do we do this? We do this through stories of successful entrepreneurs that have made it, stories of the challenges that entrepreneurs go through every other day, stories of opportunities that entrepreneurs can be able to tap into to grow their businesses, and amazing other experiences that they share that they have gone through. And I am so sure that this is what you need as a business person or a potential business person. And so if you're looking to starting your business, this is the show to be in. If you're looking to growing your business, this is the show to be in. If you're looking to growing even somebody else's business, I believe this is the show to be in. It's all about business. It's all about occupying today until the Lord comes. Why? Because He left us this mandate. And so as a business person, you have really a bright opportunity to keep doing what God has called you to do in the marketplace. So most welcome. Tonight we will be discussing how the threats in the area of cybersecurity are affecting small businesses. I'm sure cyber threats have affected you in one way or the other. For some of us, we may not even know what this is all about, but I'm sure Fred tonight will be exposing this to us. And so sit, relax, enjoy, grab a glass of water, and enjoy the show with us. So most welcome, Fred.
Yeah, thank
I am
you very
so
much.
happy to have you here tonight.
Yes.
And I just want you to introduce yourself and tell us, who are you? Who is Fred Wahome? Where do you come from? What do you do with yourself? What is this issue of cybersecurity? And make your introduction as rich as you possibly can do.
Thank you very much this evening, Mrs. Sarah. Thank you again. And it's an honor and a privilege to be considered here this evening, to be able to share the insights and the knowledge around cybersecurity. So I am Frederick Wahome. I'm the Vice President at Kenya Cybersecurity and Forensics Association, which has been there for the last now 7 years. And also I am a CEO at SecuNet Technologies, which we founded way back in 2010. And we do provide solutions in cybersecurity, also in information technology, digital forensics, and now we are also doing a lot of data protection to our customers. And most of our target audience are individuals as well as the small and medium enterprises.
Wow.
Which I think as one of our key focus this evening, there's a value that they are going to get.
Wow.
Yes.
What an opportune time to have you here, Fred.
Yes.
I'm actually really excited that I personally can learn a lot about cybersecurity, because this is not something that you interact with every day, and especially for some of us who are not on that side of technology. And I am sure that you will be, as you educate our audience tonight, I'll also get educated.
Yes.
And I'm sure that by the end of this session, we will be able to take home a lot and have uncover things that we want to think through and, think about as business people, because as small businesses, many times we assume the potential losses that we can make as a result of the things that we're talking.
Very true.
But I'm glad to have you, and most welcome once more.
Thank you.
So tell me, cyber security, it's such a loaded word. I have no idea even where to begin in terms of understanding this topic. Would you be able to just give us an overview of what cyber security is all about?
Again, thank you for that question. And a lot of times, we have seen people, especially those who are in that space, we have seen most people become very technical. And when we become very technical, we do not provide or offer value to most of our audience.
Yes.
And the one thing that I can be able to guarantee is cyber security affects every person. As long as you have a phone, as long as you have an email, as long as you go online, whether you go to a cyber cafe, whatever you do, as long as you have access to the internet, cyber security is such a big deal for you.
Yes.
Basically, and in a very simplified way, we cannot mention cyber security without mentioning information technology. Because as long as we have the information technology under this, collection of different technologies which facilitates business transactions, things like emails, things like computers, a mobile phone, whatever it is. So all these collectively, they make up what we call information technology.
Yes.
And any time that we have information technology, just like even in the physical aspect, where we have buildings, we have roads, so there will always be something that is somehow negative that can negatively impact, let's say, the physical aspect.
Yes.
Like stealing, thieves exist and all that.
Definitely.
So when you come to the information technology, so there will always be something that is almost negative to the existence of that information technology. In this case, we bring in the aspect of technology, the internet. And now when you bring in the internet, this is where we bring in the issue of the cyber. And you see we have now the security aspect. So collectively, we have the information technology, we have the people who operates the technology, we have different processes which facilitate people and technology to interact. And when you now look at all those things from the perspective of trying to make sure that they are safe, this is when we now come to something called cyber security. So you can see it is a collection of all these components that builds up the information technology, the people, the processes that facilitate interaction of all these. We now have the cyber security on how to make sure that all these interactions, they are safe and there will be no any loss, either of data, either financials, any loss that can come through the use of these technology platforms. So I did not want to sound so much technical so that we can be able to simplify for our audience to be able to understand. And maybe the last point is this. Cyber security is not for banks that, because the banks are what we consider that they have money and someone can be able to maybe breach that cyber aspect. But cyber security, as you have said, it affects every person. As long as you have a mobile phone, as long as you have an email, as long as you go to the internet, you must start to be conscious of the cyber security. Yes, because it can affect you and affect also your life as well.
Friend, are you a teacher? You spoke like a teacher. You broke it down so well, and I'm sure none of our audience is lost because you have taken time and just brought it out in a very, very palatable way.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that very good understanding of what cybersecurity is. And I'm just wondering, Fred, as we talk about this, does it matter then for small businesses? And before you get there, our dear audience, please interact with us. Send us your questions. Send us your comments. Bring on every other question that you may have for Fred tonight in the area of cybersecurity. And you can reach us on Facebook at Hope TV Kenya, on Twitter or on Instagram at Hope TV_KE. But also you can reach us on SMS line 22232. Please bring on your interaction in form of questions, in form of comments. We are looking forward to interacting with you even as we break down this topic of cyber security. You can be sure we got the right person for this very good topic. Can you imagine? Fred is the vice president of Cyber Security, Association of Cyber Security and something of Kenya. What was that?
Forensics and Cyber Security and Forensics Association.
Forensics Association of Kenya.
Yes.
So we have the right person. So please engage us with your questions and your comments, and we will be able to interact some more as we go on. So Fred, I was asking, how does it matter then for a small business? This sounds something out there. And like you're saying, it's not necessarily for banks. Does it matter for small businesses?
A good question.
Yeah.
Currently where we are, first as a nation and also as a world, if you can maybe say it that way. We are in that season or dispensation of so much use and adoption of technology. So if, let's say, you run a business, you have one computer, you have a mobile phone connected to the internet, you use emails maybe to send to potential customers, to send to potential suppliers, third-party providers, your internet service providers, as standard an SME that is, have one or two computers. So you are already using technology.
Yes.
And where we are, even if you look at what our president has been, sharing with us, with the nation, that it is the high time that we adopt technology as a nation, as businesses, simply because technology makes things easier.
It's an enabler.
Exactly. So you are able to serve your customers effectively, and also it becomes also affordable to serve the customers. So we cannot question the usage and adoption of technology for the SME.
Yes.
So we are already in that dispensation of high adoption of technology. And now, as we have said during the definition of cybersecurity, every time you adopt or you use technology, potentially it is possible for someone else to come and try now to challenge that use of the same technology.
Yes.
You are using the technology in order to be effective in serving your customers, which make it easier for you maybe to make profit.
Yes.
But now, as long as you have already used the computer, potentially something can be existing in that computer which can affect your delivery of services to the customers. For instance, you can have a file, and that file belongs to a customer. It can be deleted by something that is resident within the computer.
Yeah.
You can be sending an email to a customer, for instance, and something exists between you and the customer. Even though the customers maybe are remote or far away from where you are, it is possible for something to exist in between.
Yes.
Which means it can affect your service delivery to the customer. And this is why now it becomes very critical for the small and medium enterprises to consider and be conscious of the issue of cybersecurity.
I hear you.
And not only that, they also need to be conscious how cybersecurity and lack of it can affect their businesses negatively.
I hear you.
It can affect the the measure of service delivery.
I hear you.
Also the quality of service delivery, because an email can be sent out and it doesn't get on time to the customer simply because someone was able to access that email illegally or without the proper authority.
Yeah.
And the customer will not receive that email.
I see. So
that is why we believe that cybersecurity matters a lot, especially for the SME.
Now, Fred, as you talk, I'm just curious to know, are there different types of threats in as far as this topic is concerned? Are there different threats that we should, as the business community, be able to look out for? Are there different threats?
So looking at that, if you consider the issue of threats,
yes,
a threat, maybe to simplify, a threat is anything that can instill pain.
Yes.
It can instill pain or even instill fear so that the intended outcome will not be achieved. So we have so many threats,
yeah,
and they keep increasing. And the reason they increase is the more we adopt more usage of technology, the more these threats keep changing.
I see.
For instance, for an SME that has 1 to 5 computers, for instance, one of the main threats is something like a virus. So a virus is just a software that gets in the computer, and it will destroy whatever data or the content is in those computers.
Yeah.
So we have things like malwares. So these are softwares that have been programmed so that they can cause harm. So there is a person behind a threat.
Yes.
And this person is a criminal with maybe a wrong motive. It can be either to maybe steal information, maybe to steal money. But they are the one who orchestrate or facilitate on that threat to come to the SME.
I see.
So we have malwares, we have people, their emails being breached, and they install different illegal softwares in computers.
Yes.
And the result or the outcome is the data is lost, information is lost, money is lost. There are delays. For instance, if emails were supposed to maybe get to the customer within 1 hour, it gets to the customer after, let's say, a whole day.
I hear you.
So there are so many different threats affecting the SME.
Yes.
Also, behind the SME is the individuals, the owner of the business.
Definitely.
So we have cyberbullying, for instance. We have people create pseudo accounts.
What are pseudo accounts?
Let's say, like now you are Mrs. Sarah. So all I need is just to pick your photo and look at your profile online and just mimic or create the same profile. And the reason or one of the intention is to lie to people or mislead people. And if you're running a business, probably I mislead them to maybe make payments to me, or they believe that I am the one controlling a certain aspect of that business. So the SME can be affected by these threats, and also the person behind the SME can also become a victim.
A victim.
And when the person behind the SME becomes a victim,
yes,
the same threat can now land into the
into
SME.
their business as well. You're reminding me that this week, one of our leaders I sit with in a certain forum could not attend the meeting because their phone, I don't know, somebody took a hold of their system and was able to corrupt it. And so the same gadget that she was to use to access the meeting, she couldn't use it. I don't know what sort of attack that is. And these threats, are they the same things that we're calling cyber attacks? I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, tell me, what was happening this week? Because I know there's something that was amiss somewhere, and this must have caught up with my friend. But at the same time, the threats you're talking about, are they the same ones we're talking, calling cyber attacks? I don't know.
A good question. And as a nation, this week we experienced some incidents within the cyberspace. I call it cyberspace because it comprises of the internet, the technology that facilitates communications between people. Because if you look at ICT, it is information communication technology. So a business connecting to another one, but using the technology. So we experienced a cyber incident, and this incident, in very simple terms, it is known as a denial of service attack. And what is a
Is it what they are calling DDoS?
Yeah, DDoS.
Okay.
Now, when you add D, it means distributed denial of service attack.
I see.
In simple terms, if you, for instance, if you have a pipe that is, supplying some water somewhere, and that pipe, we assume it is getting water from a certain source. So it is possible to supply so much water to that single pipe, such that what will happen is the pipe will be unable to accommodate the capacity of the water that is flowing. So probably the pipe can burst.
I see.
And the end user, or whoever is supposed to enjoy the water, they are not going to enjoy that water. So most of the computers within the Kenyan space, they were, they received so many requests from computers outside our borders. And what happened is that instead of these computers serving you, and maybe you request for a certain website, instead of that website, that computer giving you access to that website, they were unable to do that because they were overwhelmed with so many requests.
For 2 days last week, I've been able to, I was trying to access eCitizen and I couldn't do anything. Might that be the reason?
Yeah, it might have been the reason.
Yeah.
And by the privilege of a few information here and there. But one thing that needs to be clear is a denial of service attack may not necessarily result into loss of data. It may affect the availability of the resources, availability of you accessing the website.
Yes.
But it might not mean that there was loss of any information or loss of any data at all.
I see.
So someone seated somewhere and they said so much request, they automate that process. So they said so much request to a single computer such that the computer is unable to respond to the genuine request for services. So the computer is kept so much busy servicing fake request from automated request out there. And now when you connect to the issue of the colleague that you have shared, so currently we have an issue when it comes to one of the provider known as SIM swapping. So most of these criminals, using their own tactics, they are able to access someone's SIM card and they swap, like they change, they switch off your SIM card. Even though you are legitimate owner of that SIM card, there's a way they take control using their own tools and methodologies. So they take control of your SIM card, and when they do that, most of the time, they also access your entire phone book. So you will realize that your phone does not have network connection. That is one of the indicator probably that you are a victim. For 1 hour you try to restart, it's not coming up. You try to call and the response is the SIM card is unavailable, for instance. And one of the outcome or impact of such a thing, they set up a fake WhatsApp with your photo. And because they have already accessed your phone book, they will now start inboxing your users.
I've seen
and,
that happen.
When someone see that it's you requesting for assistance, they are going to set money before.
Definitely.
And you see, you don't have access to tell people, access to your phone, to your SIM, to tell them that I have been breached or something like that. So that is a proof how issue of cyber can affect even our lives. You can imagine people sending, strangers sending request for money to your
I
network.
know, definitely.
And actually they said money. So before you now start calling them and telling them that I have been breached, for instance,
Money has
it will
been
affect you even
collected.
psychologically.
I know, definitely.
Yes.
But how, number one, how can we avoid this? But then number two, is there a corrective measure thereafter that my SIM card may never be swapped? Yes, I think that is what I need to ask.
A good question. Number one is that you must be conscious
Yes.
and aware that it is possible for someone to swap your SIM card without your consent. So it is very possible.
Yes.
How the criminal do that, it is a bit technical. Number two, you are the one responsible for the security of your SIM card.
Yes.
In as much the network provider is somehow the custodian of your SIM card, you are the one responsible. So your SIM card has maybe a PIN, and you have maybe other measures that you have already on your phone. So you need to be aware of that. Number two, you need to also be conscious that you don't go clicking any links on your phone. So someone can send a link to your phone, and the moment you click on that link, something will be installed in your phone and you will not see it. And probably it will start collecting your data without your information.
I see.
And one of the measures that one of the service provider have already introduced is a service where you dial. For instance, within the Safaricom network, it is possible to dial *100*, then 100#, and that will what will happen is that you will only grant any swapping of your SIM card to a retail shop within the Safaricom network.
I see.
So such that if someone shows up in any of, let's say in an agent or something, they will be required to present, to prove that they are you.
They are the
Providing
owners
an
of that.
ID, probably showing up through their face or
Yes.
that, for SIM swap to happen. Unfortunately, many Kenyans are not aware of this. Seems like a very simple thing, but a very effective thing. But again, we also have more solutions, like it need to be addressed at the regulatory level, where we need the law maybe to be amended to empower some of the service providers to handle those, or to address those issues from the perspective of the legal.
Hey, Fred Wahome, you're all oozing with passion for this topic. And of course, I want to allow us to take a very short break, and we will be back in a few, and we will continue with this. So our dear viewers, I'm hoping that you're keeping it right there. Please don't touch that dial. Just grab your glass of water, continue sipping it, because there is so much more that Fred is about to speak to us. You can tell that the passion is just oozing out. It's just coming out. It's gushing out. And I'm sure that you do not want to miss what he's about to unfold after this break. So take a break. Let's come back and continue. Thank you.
Join John Carson every weekday as he takes us on a journey through the Bible.
Whoever shall seek to save his life, if you go back to living for yourself, you're going to lose it. But whoever shall lose his life, give up his life for my sake, he shall preserve it.
Enjoy interesting, knowledge-packed, yet simple teachings through his humor and in-depth understanding of God's Word.
The last people that tried to put God in a box, literally, he rose again. He wouldn't stay in their compartment. If God was small enough for me to figure out, he wouldn't be big enough for me to worship.
Tune in to Hope TV for John Carson every 10 p.m., 4 a.m., and 10 a.m. weekdays on Hope TV, where you look and live. Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
1 Thessalonians chapter number 5 verse 17. Pray without ceasing, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you.
On Watch and Pray, we pray for you and with you regarding your prayer requests, our nation and the whole world.
There's this one who is saying there's a marriage separation in marriage, but let's pray for the babies and then restore also. Father God Almighty.
Join Mama Eda Adoyo on Watch and Pray every Monday from 7:30 p.m. live on Hope TV, where you look and live.
Yes, thank you very much, dear viewers, ladies and gentlemen, for keeping it right there. We are back, and we are hoping that you will carry on with us to the end of this show. Please don't touch that dial. Be with us, and let's just hear some more from Fred. He is packed with so much energy, so much vigor, so much passion for this area of cyber security. And I'm sure you as a business person, you as a prospective business person, you have so much to learn, because this is the space we are all in. And like he said, if you're not using WhatsApp, you're using LinkedIn, you're using Facebook, we are all using one area of technology or the other. And that is why this topic is very, very important for you. So keep it right there. And of course, to continue, Fred, I just want to ask, I am sure the government of Kenya has so much that it has set and prepared and is working towards and is building systems and so much to help the business person, and especially in this digital economy. So how can a prospective business person or a business person, somebody in business, align to what the government has to offer?
Thank you. A very good question. Allow me to refer to what we are doing at the association. Mm-hmm. So we have corporate members within the association. One of our corporate members is the Communications Authority, mm-hmm. who are the regulator of the ICT and also cybersecurity. And within the CA, we have an agency called KESAT. So this is the body that is mandated when there is a cyber breach or something of the sort within the nation. People are supposed to, or they are advised to report to that agency. So they have given us around 15 members, members of their staffs into the association. So we are able to know and understand what and the measures the government is already taking. Somehow, probably they need maybe to do more. But if you look in a summary, we already have data protection law. So that is already a commitment that we are addressing the issue of cyber from the regulatory and the legal perspective. We also have Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Act, which is a law that is, that is supposed, or the inspiration behind the law is to be able to ensure that the issue of cyber is addressed. Yes. Currently, there are regulations which are being prepared to make sure that that law has already been implemented within the Kenyan cyberspace. So the SME, as we have seen, most of the threats that they face, it is possible for them to be able to address the same threats. For instance, if you look at a standard SME that has, let's say, 5 computers, what they need to know is they need to be conscious of these threats. So it starts from a point of knowledge that, as you said, emails, it is possible for someone to sit in between your email and your recipient. And the recipient will not be able to receive this email. But now, after you are conscious and aware, then you need to do something about it. It starts as basic as an antivirus. Number two, you need now to understand that you need maybe an expert on board. Most SMEs, one thing that they lack is that they do not have access to most of the ICT professionals who can be able to provide these technical solutions to them. Most of them somehow they cannot afford a full-time cybersecurity professional because somehow it is a bit expensive for them to do that. And this is where they take advantage of what the government is doing. So there are things that the government is doing right. Others, maybe they need to improve. For instance, when you look at the issue of the law, it is possible for an SME to consider having something like an IT policy. An IT policy will help them to be able to look at, at the SME from the perspective of the cyber risk. That yes, we are in this space, we are doing this sort of business, but what are some of the threats that we face? And when these threats come, what are our chances of survival? It is possible for a cyber incident to bring down an SME.
Yes.
So if you look now at the current focus, the issue of the digital economy, so there is aspect of cyber security that is already integrated into the issue of the digital economy.
Wow, wow, wow. Quite some chat right there that we need to dissect
Yes,
even as we go by.
Very true.
But I'm just wondering, even as you were talking, are there security practices that the business person can be able to implement just to take care of the basics?
Yes.
You know, there are those that can adversely affect them, yet they are so basic.
Yes.
So there are some security practices they can be able to implement.
A very good question. And as you said, the SME, behind the SME, there is a human being. The owner of the business, the board of director. And the SME cannot be as much effective more than the people who are running the SME.
Definitely.
So if those running the SME are conscious and aware of the cyber risk and the threats which are there, then it will overflow to the SME. For instance, are the people working with the SME aware of these things? It starts with the people, because the people are the strongest, they are the first line of defense.
Yes.
When someone pick a call and tell you that do not send money to this number, send to the other number, you find that you have already been lured to, and you send money to that person.
Yeah.
So even as an SME, number one is to educate their people. The more their people are conscious and aware, the lesser the chances of them being lied to and manipulated by these criminals. Number two, if they run a number of computers, 1 computer, 5 computers, 10 computers, they can invite a cyber professional, an ICT professional, who can install as basic as an antivirus. It starts from there.
Yeah.
Then from there, if they have, let's say, things like websites, who is hosting these websites? Do they have measures to protect the SME online? They are hosting their websites. So it is possible for an SME to engage the people providing them with the services, the internet service provider. It is possible to ask your internet service provider, to ask them, what measures have you put in place so that me as the business owner or us as a business, we will not fall victim into these cyber incidents.
Yes.
So other measures is to make sure maybe you have an IT policy, so that will address the governance part of it. But after you address the governance, it is possible now to implement technical solutions within the SME. Because it is one thing to talk about it, It is another thing to install something or implement something that is going to provide security for the SME.
Yeah. Wow. This is quite a reach. And of course, I am sure even as you unpack this and look at the interventions that SMEs can do, I'm sure this presents very many opportunities,
Yes.
Fred. And I'm wondering, there is a person seated there and they're wondering, what are the opportunities available for somebody who has a mind like yours, and especially in this cyber security space? Are there opportunities that can actually be exposed to somebody who doesn't even have a business or is looking at building a business in that space? And probably you can speak into that right now.
Okay, a good question. Currently, if you look at, there are some projections that have been run by a company called Cyber Ventures. So they do a lot of research on how the cyber security is growing globally.
Yes.
And one of their projections is that by 2025, the value or the total amount that potentially will have been lost by 2025 will have hit 10 trillion US dollars. 2025 is just about 2 years to come, yeah?
Yes.
And this tells us that if this is the amount that potentially will have been lost, it means, or it opens up for us as professionals quite amount of opportunities for us to step in and provide solutions
Yes.
to our SME. Number one, the most immediate opportunities is for someone like a young person. We currently have shortage in terms of skills. Our universities, they are teaching the ICT, computer science, but we are also challenging them to align their programs so that they become relevant, such that when the students graduate, they are able to know and understand some of these opportunities. For instance, we have data protection law.
Yes.
It has created a new opportunity called data protection officer.
Wow.
All someone need is to have passion. Number two, to study for a certificate in data protection. And you become a data protection officer, and you can be able now to provide solutions to the SMEs. Number two, it is possible to partake a certification in cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Maybe you are already in ICT or computer science. You can consider partaking a certification. Then you start with educating people where you are. It doesn't matter, like, that you have to go to a big company to do that. I remember when I got interest into cybersecurity, that was way back in 2006 in my second year. And I started in, teaching, my friends back in school, and talking to a few businesses here and there, just trying to educate them. And it has been a journey of growth. But first, it starts with passion. Then identify someone who can be able to mentor you. Do the right course or the right training. But one thing that we can guarantee to our young people right now, this is the best time that we need you. We need you to join, have those skills. Then the opportunities are so many.
There are so many.
So
and
many.
definitely they keep evolving, because this space of technology is evolving every other day.
Very true.
So I can only imagine how much more is coming.
Yes.
And I think on that note, I just want to bring a question or a comment that has been sent by Terry Njoki of Muranga. She says, good insights, simplified explanation by Mr. Wahome on cybersecurity. KCSFA, and I believe that is the association that you work for, is a community of cybersecurity professionals and enthusiasts. How can one join? One question. Secondly, it would be important to help us understand how that association can work with the government in addressing the prevailing cybersecurity concerns. But also, tell us more about the ongoing regional hackathons in Kenya. And lastly, enlighten us about the importance of awareness and training in facing the challenges that are posed by cyber threats. And as you do this, I think it might form part of your parting shot. So just go at it, Wahome, and educate us on these areas that Njoki is asking about. Thank you.
A very good question from Joki. Thank you very much for that. So as an association, the idea behind the association was because we identified a gap, and this gap existed between the law enforcement. So a police officer go into a crime scene, which is, let's say, an organization has been breached, and a computer maybe has, let's say, lost data or something of the sort, and they are unable to follow the right procedure in collection of, let's say, the evidence. So this is a bit technical.
Yeah.
So when you go to now the lawyers, also when they go to the court, they are unable to, to express themselves when it comes to matters related with our focus this evening. And when you come to the IT professionals, it also become a challenge because they do not understand the legal and the law jargons in the court, for instance. And it become a challenge for them. So we identified that gap, and we brought together all these parties so that they can be able to understand the cybersecurity from a very simplified perspective. For someone to join, you either belong to the IT, so maybe cybersecurity or forensic. Maybe you belong to, you are a lawyer and you practice in technology space, for instance, or you are a law enforcement officer. Let's say you are in DCI, cybercrime, you are in the military, the NIS. We have all those members within the association.
Yes.
And all you need is to go to our website, www.kcsfa.co.ke. You'll be able to join. Number two, we currently have a collaboration with most of the government agencies. One of them being the KESAT, the Kenya Computer Incidents Response Team. It is a body that is domiciled within the Communications Authority. And them being a regulator and seeing them partner with us, we value that relationship a lot. And they have also given us members. Because of that, they have granted us access to be able to interact with more government agencies. Like now, we have also participated in a conversation with Kenya Magistrate and Judges Association, trying to educate the judges, trying to be able to enlighten them, to understand and simplify for them on this issue. The issue of the hackathon, it is also a collaboration between the CA and the Huawei. And this is where the private sector comes in. The issue of cyber cannot be sorted out by one player. It requires collaboration. It requires partnership between different players. And through that partnership, we are able to focus and to target university students from different regions. So we have Nairobi region, we have Kisumu region, Nyeri, we have also Eldoret and Mombasa. This week, we had the hackathon here in Nairobi, and it was amazing. And we are going to Kisumu from Wednesday up to Friday. And how it is working is the university students, they assemble, like in Kisumu, we'll be assembling at Ciala Resort. And for 24 hours, they focus on trying to break into systems, trying to build solutions, to build apps that address the issue of cybersecurity. Because we need our young people to be the innovators in the cyberspace. We need to see antiviruses which are built within Kenyan space. We do not have to import solutions from outside.
You can say that again.
We have brains and young people within our nation who can be able to do this. And the last question, maybe you can remind me.
Let me get there. She asked, enlighten us about the importance of awareness and training in facing the challenges that are posed by cyber threats. I know you alluded to this, but yes, you can go at it.
A very good question. One of our key objectives as an association, in as much we onboard members into the association, we focus a lot on awareness. And how we do it is the same way we are here doing it.
Yes.
This is the awareness that we do, trying to simplify it so that Shosho, that Guka, there in Mashinani, they can be able to know that someone can call pretending to be calling from your bank, and they instruct you to press 1, 2, 3. Before you know it, the money is lost. So we try to simplify it as much as possible. Our focus is mostly on the people. You'll find us in matatus, trying to educate the people. You'll find us in malls, entrances. We establish our tent there and try to talk to people. At the same time, we also focus on professionals, those who are already aware somehow, but somehow they are ignorant. It's very important when we promote awareness, and we also encourage other cybersecurity communities. For instance, we have organizations like Africa Hackon. That is one of community-led organization. We have SheHacks. We have different communities of young people who have come together trying to address the issue of cyber. Some are addressing university students, some they're addressing professionals, some the government. And when we are able to speak the same language collectively as a team, then you are able to address the issue of cyber.
Indeed. Whoa! You're a powerhouse, Wahome.
Thank you.
You are a real powerhouse. And I'm sure that our dear viewers, you have picked a lot. I am sure, like me, you have a lot to read on, a lot to understand, and a lot, so much more to keep learning and to keep growing in, because for some of you like me, this is not your usual everyday conversation, but I think it has been a good starter for many of us. And so you can go and unpack it, but I'm also sure that, Fred, you can leave us at least one of your contacts so that just in case any of our viewers would want to get in touch with you and learn some more and get to unpack this some more, they can be able to do so in less than 15 seconds. Can you be able to do that?
Okay, thank you. As we have shared, you can contact us through our website, www.kcsfa.co.ke, or you can also call the number 0788 827 759, and someone will be on the other side. Whether you have been hacked, whether you have seen viruses on your computer, and they'll be more than happy to assist and also guide you.
Lovely. Thank you very much. So our dear viewers, with this, we come to the end of our show tonight. It has been amazing. It has been power-packed. And I'm hopeful, like we said before, that you can go and learn some more, get to know so much more, so that then you don't find yourself compromised at some point or the other. So with that, we've come to the end of our show tonight. Looking forward to seeing you on the same platform next Sunday, same time, same place. And for this moment, it is Kwaheri from me. Thank you very much.